The prospect of a nuclear bomb being dropped on Taiwan is a chilling one. While it is unlikely to happen, it's still important to consider the potential consequences of such an event and the implications for global security. In this video, we will explore the possible effects of a Chinese nuclear attack on Taiwan, from economic and political consequences to the potential for a global conflict. We will also examine the likelihood of such an event actually taking place and consider the various factors that would need to be taken into account in order for it to happen. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our video for informative videos like this. Without wasting the time, let's dive in. The political situation between China and Taiwan. The relationship between China and Taiwan has been a complicated one for many years. Since 1949, when the Chinese Communist Party took control of mainland China, the government in Beijing has viewed Taiwan as a breakaway province and claimed sovereignty over it. Over the decades since, Taiwan has grown into a vibrant democracy, and there is increasing pressure from the Taiwanese people to declare independence. This is something that China opposes, and it has refused to recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. The two sides have been locked in a tense standoff, with both engaging in military posturing and rhetoric. China has gone as far as threatening military action if Taiwan declares independence, while also engaging in aggressive military drills near the island. The situation remains unresolved and could have serious implications if not handled carefully. The history of the Chinese nuclear program. The People's Republic of China began to develop nuclear weapons in 1955, when the Chinese Communist Party created a nuclear research and development program. The goal of this program was to create a reliable, dependable nuclear arsenal as a deterrent against possible nuclear aggression from other countries. Initially, the Chinese program was slow-going as they faced difficulty in acquiring materials, expertise, and funding from other countries. In 1964, China successfully tested its first atomic bomb. This achievement marked a major milestone for the Chinese nuclear program and significantly increased its credibility as a major military power. In 1966, China tested its first hydrogen bomb, and by 1967 had developed the capability to launch nuclear missiles. Since then, China has steadily improved its nuclear capabilities by improving its missile delivery system, designing more sophisticated nuclear warheads, and increasing the size of its nuclear arsenal. China is estimated to possess 260 nuclear warheads, making it the world's fourth largest nuclear power after the United States, Russia, and France. Additionally, China is believed to have sufficient uranium reserves to continue producing nuclear weapons for many years. As of 2019, China is one of the 5 recognized nuclear weapon states under the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The possibility of China using a nuclear weapon against Taiwan. Since the end of the Chinese Civil War in 1949, China and Taiwan have been separated. China sees Taiwan as a part of its territory and has threatened to use force if it attempts to declare independence. While it is unclear what kind of force China would use in such a scenario, some have speculated that it could include the use of nuclear weapons. China has a long history of developing and testing nuclear weapons, beginning in the 1960s. As of 2020, it is estimated that China has approximately 280 nuclear warheads, a number that is increasing at a rapid pace. However, while these weapons may give China the capability to launch a nuclear strike against Taiwan, it is highly unlikely that they would do so. A nuclear strike against Taiwan would be met with fierce international condemnation, as well as potential military action from other countries. Furthermore, the potential consequences of such an attack would be dire for both China and Taiwan. A nuclear strike would cause unimaginable death and destruction in Taiwan, as well as cause immense economic and environmental damage to China itself. For these reasons, it is unlikely that China would use nuclear weapons against Taiwan. However, given the tensions between the two sides, it is important to remain vigilant and prepared in case such an attack ever occurred. Although there is currently no indication that China plans to drop a nuclear bomb on Taiwan, there are steps that can be taken to reduce the risk of it happening. For example, diplomatic negotiations and de-escalation efforts should be undertaken to improve relations between China and Taiwan. The consequences of such an attack. If China were to drop a nuclear bomb on Taiwan, it would have far-reaching consequences for the region and the world. The immediate aftermath of such an attack would be devastating, with millions of lives lost and much of the island's infrastructure destroyed. But the long-term implications could be even more profound. In the event of a nuclear attack, Taiwan would almost certainly be subject to economic sanctions from the international community, as well as facing potential retaliation from China. This would likely have severe economic consequences for Taiwan, as well as potentially affect global trade. The political implications would be vast. China would be heavily condemned by the international community for the attack and face diplomatic isolation. It could also lead to greater militarization of Taiwan, making the risk of further conflict in the region much higher. Finally, it is worth considering the environmental consequences of such an attack. Nuclear weapons are incredibly destructive and toxic, meaning that a nuclear strike would likely have a long-lasting impact on Taiwan's environment, including air and water contamination, as well as radiation poisoning. The full scope of the environmental damage is difficult to predict, but it is likely to be considerable. In conclusion, if China were to drop a nuclear bomb on Taiwan, the consequences would be catastrophic and far-reaching. Not only would millions of lives be lost, but the economic and political implications could be devastating, not just for Taiwan, but for the entire region and beyond. Many countries around the world depend on Taiwan for trade, so any disruption to this could have serious repercussions globally. Furthermore, any escalation of military action in the region has the potential to draw in other powers, creating an even bigger crisis. The international reaction to such an attack. The use of a nuclear weapon against Taiwan by China would be met with swift and immediate condemnation from the international community. World leaders would likely condemn the attack, raising concerns about the long-term consequences for global peace and security. It is also likely that the United Nations Security Council would pass a resolution condemning the attack. Additionally, economic sanctions may be imposed upon China by countries such as the United States, Europe, and Japan to deter future attacks. Additionally, China may face expulsion from certain international organizations, or even from the United Nations, if it does not comply with the demands of the international community. The international community would also likely call for an immediate ceasefire and the withdrawal of Chinese forces from Taiwan. What do you think? Could the fight over Taiwan trigger a nuclear war? Let us know in the comments section below. See you in the next one.